What's going on, Rams fans? Welcome back to Rams Showcase. Tonight, Todd Gurley passes his physical for the Falcons. What does that mean for the Rams? Speaking of the running back position, the Rams get a three-way prove-it year from the backfield. And later, a flurry of fan quesos. Next on Rams Showcase.
Welcome to Rams Showcase on Sports War Radio.
What's going on, Rams fans, and welcome back to another edition of Rams Showcase right here on Sports War Radio. I'm your host, Joe Branham, but you can and should call me Sheriff Joe Baggs, laying down the law for you guys tonight. Pretty interesting show. We are talking Todd Gurley for hopefully the last time, and then, of course, we're going to go into the running back position. The Rams have a very interesting running back position group this year, and that might look very different in just one more year from now. So we'll get into all that, and then most of our content tonight is actually going to be fan quesos, because we're in June. We are in June, which is the worst time for NFL news. And also in bad news, I'm out here in Colorado Springs, and there was some rumors that dropped that our In-N-Out was going to open up this month. It turns out that's not the case, guys. That's not the case. Our In-N-Out does not open this month, and it turns out it's later this year. So it's quite a while till I'm going to try In-N-Out. I know. I feel like there's people that tell me all the time, like my listeners that tell me, though, dude, you have to have In-N-Out. And do I look like I'm a big food guy? So I'm not necessarily super worried about it. But at the same time, I'm willing to try it. I know the first weekend is going to be absolutely bananas, so I probably won't go up there for a little while. But and from where I'm living, where the one In-N-Out is going to be popping up is like a good 45 minutes away from my house. So I don't love any burger that much. I've had some delicious burgers in my life, but I've never had a burger that I've been like, you know what? I'm willing to drive 45 minutes for it. I will barely drive 3 minutes to the burger places close to me for good burgers. But hey, you know what? I'm not a food guy, which I think is a little obvious looking at me. But you know what? What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? But I had to tell you guys that because I know that there's some people out there that, first of all, are already mad that I'm like, I don't really care about fast food that much. and also people that are like mad that like we're going to get an In-N-Out and I'm not super worried about trying it right away. Like, I'm going to take my time, you know? Because first of all, it's the first In-N-Out in Colorado. So it probably, I feel like, these Colorado people out here, which are technically not Colorado people. We don't really have a lot of Colorado people. All the people are from other places, which is the unfortunate part of living out here. But let's go ahead and talk about the Rams. I think that's what we need to do first and foremost. That is the most important part of why I'm here with you guys tonight, is because I like to talk about the Rams. You guys like to listen about the Rams, if those words make sense. So first, we're going to start Todd Gurley, all right? Gurley obviously used to play for the Rams, was drafted a couple years back, and had some cool years, and then didn't have some cool year, or a cool year, and now he's just gone. But signing with the Atlanta Falcons, was able to finally head out and take his physical, and he did pass it for the Atlanta Falcons, which we expected. I'll be completely real. I mean, I expected him to pass this. I didn't see a situation where he was not going to pass his physical. But what does this mean for the Rams? Well, his contract for the Rams had an injury guarantee. And if you guys don't know what an injury guarantee is all about, basically what that means is if he gets hurt while under that contract and he is released and he is unable to get another contract due to his injury that he sustained under that previous contract, then the injury guarantee kicks in. That was a $10 million injury guarantee. So Todd Gurley does not get that from the Rams because he passed his physical. So that's now that injury guarantee is void. That's out of the question now. That's all gone. So what this means though is Gurley actually lost $3 million to pass his physical for the Falcons, and I don't mean to laugh. That's not a funny thing. I'm not trying to, because I realize it's like $3 million for a person who signed a $7 million contract. Some people might be out there like, good, whatever. I'm all for get your money. I don't care what position you're in or who you are or where you came from or how you did it. Go get your money, man, because there's some sketchy stuff that goes on in the world, and if you can get your money, then I support it. Just go get your money. But Todd Gurley, he unfortunately lost out on about $3 million to sign a one-year contract with the Atlanta Falcons. So the Rams save 10, he makes $3 million less, and then of course the Falcons have a new running back. So there you go. This is kind of an interesting part, though, is the 2021 running back free agency class. If you need a running back, 2021 is the year to do it, to hit the free agency market and get yourself a running back. And this is the point on the Rams. So if Malcolm Brown, Cam Akers, and Darrell Henderson, if none of them solidify themselves this season in 2020, if none of them solidify their spot this season on the Rams roster, then we've got some options, all right? Plenty of options to look at for the next season, and should honestly come pretty cheap. The supply and demand thing, there is plenty of supply and not necessarily that much demand, especially at the running back position. That running back position is a weird position right now. It's a weird position. No one wants to pay him, and part of that is thanks to the Rams, because that Gurley contract kind of scared a lot of people. It scared a lot of people. So these are the free agents at the moment, and these are just a few names, honestly, just a few names of free agent running backs for 2021. And I don't expect all of these guys to be free agents when we actually hit the free agency period. Not all of these guys are going to be available, okay? But there are some names here. Let's go through a couple of them. Derrick Henry, Kenyon Drake, Leonard Fournette, Todd Gurley, Tevin Coleman, James White, Matt Breida, Kareem Hunt, Rex Burkhead, Mike Davis, Damian Williams, Malcolm Brown, TJ Yeldon, Dalvin Cook, Dion Lewis, Joe Mixon, Jerick McKinnon, Amir Abdullah, Devontae Booker, Alvin Kamara, and the list goes on. Those are just the names that I wanted to throw out. That's just the names I wanted to throw out. Those are big names. Those are good running back names, all right? You got the ones in there that maybe not. Like, obviously, Todd Gurley, we don't know what he's going to look like this year, but he might blow up this year and actually get a big payday next year. Who knows? Dalvin Cook, he's kind of holding out right now, so we'll see what happens with him. He might get extended. Amir Abdullah, I loved him coming out of Nebraska. I wanted him real bad. Joe Mixon, he's really gotten his stuff together, honestly. You know, he was, obviously, we had some issues in OU, but he went up to Cincinnati. He totally cleaned himself up, and Joe Mixon. But at the same time, I was looking at it. Currently, the Bengals only have 9 guys under contract next year. So that's not a lot, but they also have like all the cap space. So the Bengals going to look real different next year. I would assume Joe Mixon part of those plans, but who knows? That actually might change. But this list, the list obviously it continues. There's some big names there, but the list continues. The point is, it will be very difficult for any of these running backs to draw large contracts on the open market, meaning that any team looking for a running back next year, they're sitting pretty. And that very well could be the Rams. The Rams might be needing a running back next year. We won't know until after we watch this season unfold, but it is possible that the Rams would need a running back next year. It's a lot like this year's quarterback situation where we saw, Joe Flacco, Cam Newton's still a free agent. Joe Flacco obviously signed already, but now he's just a backup. The quarterback market, there's not a lot of teams that need quarterbacks. In fact, I can really name 2. I would say the New England Patriots and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags, they look like they're straight cool with Gardner, and they actually probably maybe want to lose and pick up Trevor Lawrence. The Patriots, who knows what they're going to do. They could go with Stidham. They could go with Hoyer. I don't think they'll go with Kaepernick or Cam. But, hey, I mean, the Patriots, they do things, all right? They do a lot of things that I can't necessarily, predict. So who knows what's going to happen out there. We'll see what that team even looks like. But those are... If you went through, real hardcore onto teams that need quarterbacks right now, not a lot of them. But next year, if you need a running back, which could be the Rams, I'm not saying it will be the Rams, I'm saying it could be the Rams, then this is going to be the time to go get one. This is the year to go get one because there's plenty of names. And just some of these guys, I mentioned Abdullah and Mixon. Those are 2 names that I would absolutely welcome with open arms to the Rams. But I pretty much support the decisions of the team because I don't make the decisions. So, what am I going to do about it? And what does complaining do? You know what I mean? So, it's like, if we sign a guy I don't like, which has happened plenty of times, they're just like, hey, well, you know what? Not necessarily a fan of this guy, but hey, I hope he has an awesome season. I kind of go with that mindset. While they're Rams, I hope they do well. Until they leave, and then I don't care anymore. I'm looking at you, Sue. Looking at you. Next going on, just a quick little bit for you guys. This is just a quick little piece of information. According to SpotTrack, I was looking on SpotTrack, Rams have the youngest average roster again, which I found very interesting. That like jumped out to me. I was really surprised by that actually. So yeah, we're back to being the youngest. We were that a couple years ago, and then kind of signed some vets. Signed like guys like Talib and Sue. The guys I wasn't like jacked to have, but hey, you know what? It works. Some announcements coming through from the NFL. The NFL did notify teams that the virtual period of the offseason work will be extended through June 26th, and there will be no in-person mini camps in the month of June. So we are looking at least July until we can get the teams together. So it's an interesting situation that we're sitting in right now. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the world right now. A lot that I'm not going to comment on, but because this is Ram Showcase. But we're gonna, with this, it's going to be an interesting offseason. It already has been an interesting offseason, but once we get people into the building and actually onto the practice field and stuff like that, it's going to be time to go. It is going to be time to rock, and you got to just get stuff done. It's unfortunate for these rookies. It's unfortunate for teams like the Rams, who have 2 new coordinators. Well, 3 if you count special teams also, but some new coordinators coming in. It's going to be difficult to kind of to do that process. But if we're looking on the bright side, which I like to do, I feel like I'm a positive person. I like to keep on the bright side. Look at the starters that are different. Like, let's say on the offensive side of the football. Running back, but Malcolm Brown played a decent amount. Henderson played a little bit. I really wanted to see a lot more of Henderson last year. And then the defensive side of the ball, of course, we're going to have some different linebackers, but Jalen Ramsey now comes back. It's a different system, of course. A very short time under Wade Phillips, but now he's going to be under Staley. And at least he was here last year, so he kind of like knows the guys and stuff like that a little bit better. And then, of course, some injury stuff. We getting guys back, Note Boom and John Johnson, stuff like that. So it's going to be an interesting offseason, and I'm curious to see what teams are the ones that really take advantage of the situation. That they're the ones. And it feels like it's going to be the teams with that are just the best run teams. So the poorly run teams, the Redskins and the Jags, stuff like that, the Browns. Those teams are the teams I'm expecting to fail because of our special circumstances in this specific offseason. So hopefully the Rams are not that team, and if McVay is who we all thought he was in 2018, I like to be confident, and I like to think that McVay is going to be able to run a pretty tight ship and get everything in order. I like to at least hope. And then also there is discussions going on of a shortened preseason. And this could have a few impacts. It's unclear what games they would want to drop. And I was listening to some sports talk earlier today, I believe it was, and their suggestion was cut out the first and the last preseason game, because nobody really plays the fourth one. No starters really play that. Ram starters don't really play preseason at all. We'll see what happens this year just because of the special circumstances and limited practices, so we'll see. But the last one, no starters really play. That's kind of just for lack of a better term, kind of like the BS preseason game that no one really cares about. It's just your last one. I feel like most teams just try to get through it. Maybe you've got a couple more decisions to make, but overall, not that important of a game. The first one, that's an interesting cut to me. In my opinion, I would just cut the first 2 and just do the weeks 3 and 4 for the preseason, because then that 4th preseason game, of course, becomes just the 2nd preseason game and holds some importance because you only get 2 of them now. Very limited to see who your guys are gonna be. When you're making those roster cuts, sometimes those decisions get tough. I can imagine. I've never made them, so. Now, let's see. And then also coaches allowed back in the facility next week, so we are making some progress. I almost feel like nobody cares about coronavirus anymore. I feel like it's like a thing of the past. Like, coronavirus is so last month, Like, we're on to new things. Nobody cares about that anymore. People have stopped even wearing masks or like social distancing. Like, nobody cares anymore. And if you care, hey, all the power to you, man. All the power to you. But I just feel like no one's going to be able to close again. You know what I mean? This whole second wave stuff that we keep hearing, no one's going to close again. I feel like my company would just be like, no. Like, we tried it, man. It sucked. Like, we're moving on. Oh, yeah. So that's the news that we got to get into for you guys. We're going to hop into some fan quesos here. And we got some good ones. We got some decent fan quesos for you guys. Let's get some music here. Let me change my screen here. Fan quesos. I made a fan queso screen for the YouTube channel, which is pretty cool stuff. Oh, also I need to look up and announce the winner of the trivia question. We had one answer, so thanks guys for participating. But that answer was correct, so that's good. Good stuff. Let's get into some fan quesos here. We'll talk about that after we get to fan quesos. But just so to prepare myself, let me actually pull that up so that I can be ready. I don't want to not be ready. But yeah, we got some good fan quesos, and some of these I read them beforehand, but I also made it a point to not really think about them. Like there's one that I'm thinking of from Paul. It's a top 5 question. I on purpose did not think about it too much. I kind of thought of a couple, but you guys will know what I mean. Let's get into it. First one here is from Gary. Gary wants to know, with all that's going on in the world, no mini camps, training camps, no team workouts, where does Sheriff Joe see his Rams finishing the season? That's a great question, because it is tough to predict what's going on right now. Obviously we're in some wild times, but you know, it's I think this team is still pretty strong, and we're bringing back a lot of starters, and that is very important. That is a very underrated aspect of a team, is how many starters you're bringing back, how many returning starters you have. And on the offensive side of the football, we got a lot. I mean, obviously Brandon Cooks is gone, Todd Gurley's gone, but other than that, I mean, that's it. I mean, even with Brandon Cooks leaving, that still leaves Kupp, Woods, and Reynolds, excuse me. So, I mean, those guys were all here last year, and bring in a guy like Van Jefferson, who unfortunately is stuck in the situation of being a rookie in this specific year, which is unfortunate because of the lack of prep time that you're going to be able to have. So that's kind of unfortunate. But and then the running back position, we lose Todd Gurley, but Malcolm Brown. I've always liked Malcolm Brown, and I've said it on here plenty of times that I thought the Rams were going to lose Malcolm Brown, that he was going to be the guy that other teams wanted, that we weren't going to necessarily be able to afford to keep him and Gurley. But now that Gurley's gone, Malcolm Brown might be able to stick around for quite a while. But hey, I've always liked Brown. I have no issues with Brown. I'm a big Henderson guy too, and now we bring in Akers on top of it. I'm cool. I'm good. Like, it's all, I don't want to say Gurley who, because obviously, I mean, dude did some amazing things as a Ram. To be real, I mean, he's done some amazing things. And if you look at his numbers comparatively, he is like one of the top 5 running backs of all time in the Rams history. I mean, we've had some amazing ones, I'll give you that. I mean, obviously, there's some amazing names that the Rams have held at the running back position. But Gurley he's up there on a lot of that stuff, even in his decently limited time as a Ram. But to answer your question, Gary, and to stop avoiding it, where do I see the Rams finishing this season? I mean, I do see this team in the playoffs. I don't know how far this team's going to go in the playoffs because of all this stuff, but I think we're returning enough starters. McVay, I think, is a strong enough coach. I think our draft class was strong enough. I feel pretty good. I think this team can win 10. I'm feeling 10 wins, and I don't want to lose 6, but hey, I don't control it, so that's just my prediction. As I see this team winning, I think 10 games. This next question here comes from Steve. If Goff, AD, and Kupp didn't choose football as a career, what jobs would they have? That's a great question. I love this one. I like this kind of stuff. It's fun for me. Jared Goff would definitely work at like Hollister. I mean, if you see him like walking around and stuff like that, like off-season stuff where he's just chilling, he straight looks like a guy who works at Hollister, like all the time. Cooper Kupp seems like a good old boy to me. He would be like I don't want to say like a ranch hand, but he would have something like a physical labor job where he just kind of like just keeps his head down and works, you know what I mean? Not necessarily like a warehouse job. I feel like he'd be outside, but like a dirty job. He just seems like that kind of guy to me. He seems like a worker. And AD, I think AD would be like a mover. He would work for like 2 Men in a Truck or something, and he'd be like the guy who just gets everything done. He'd be like the team lead or something. And he would just like yell at everybody for not going fast enough all the time. And he'd be like just moving like water beds by himself. Water beds, that's my example. Gosh. Who has a water bed? This next one comes from Paul. Top 5 Rams of all time. Tough question, Paul. Tough question. To answer you, though, Paul, I think, obviously, there's been some amazing Rams. I'm just going to throw out some names in no particular order. No particular order. Merlin Olsen is in there. He might be my number 1. Deacon Jones. I'll say Marshall, Dickerson. See, I like Holt more than Bruce, personally. That's just a personal preference. Like, Holt was the guy that got me, like, wanting to play football. I wasn't very good at it. I was not Holt-esque on the field, but he was the one that made me want to play. And but I would put Bruce ahead of Holt, which I don't think is insane. I think one of the most, and it's weird to say underrated, because I don't necessarily think he is, but universally I think he is. For Rams fans, I don't think he's underrated. Universally, I do think he's underrated, and that would be James Laurinaitis. All-time leading tackler in Rams history. I don't think dude gets nearly enough credit for what he did for the Rams. And he was kind of like the Steven Jackson of the defense, was just kind of like super dope, super sick, did his job, was a tough player, but was just on a bunch of bad teams. And that's unfortunate. He kind of had that Steven Jackson-esque career where just played amazing, but on some poor teams, and that's too bad. But I think he's up there too. That's more than 5 names. Now I'm just going to make you accept that, Paul. You just have to take it. Paul also wants to know who could be some surprise roster cuts this year. I've got a big name I already locked and loaded. I saw this question and I had a name pop into my head, and that's right tackle Rob Havenstein. I don't think that wouldn't shock me at all. Last year, I nailed my surprise cut. I'm going to brag on myself for that, because I absolutely nailed that John Kelly would get cut. Nobody believed me. I said that I thought John Kelly had potential to be cut. All I said was he had potential to be cut because of the roster situation and all that. I got some like legit like hate mail. Like people were commenting, they're like, "You're an absolute idiot. You know nothing." And then he got cut. I didn't say anything because they already knew. I didn't have to. But I think Rob Havenstein, that's my big one, my big name as far as a potential surprise cut this year. It wouldn't shock me if it doesn't happen, but like if I heard that Rob Havenstein got cut, it wouldn't blow my mind. It wouldn't blow my mind away. I also wouldn't be super shocked to see Leonard Floyd not make it. I think he will, mainly because of Staley being his coach, and he coached him in Chicago, but that name wouldn't blow my mind. Other than that, I don't necessarily see any big surprise cuts, unless we saw somebody like Reynolds, but I don't think that's necessarily going to happen, especially under rookie contracts. I don't think that's going to happen. But Havenstein and Floyd are two that I wouldn't necessarily be stunned if they did get cut. So there you go. Maybe you would, because the question was surprise cuts, so maybe I misinterpreted or misanswered. A surprise cut would be Jared Goff. I would be very surprised if they cut Jared Goff. There you go, Paul. This next one comes from Joey. Will Cam Akers be able to separate from the rest of the running back group, or will McVay run a 3-way committee? I think we're going to start with a big committee, but I think that Malcolm Brown is going to be the guy getting the bulk of the carries early in the season. But about week 4 or 5 is where I think that Cam Akers will start to see the bulk of the carries and kind of take that role over. If, of course, he starts playing like if he starts playing really well, if he's the one that's kind of, sparking the offense, especially on the ground, then that's what's going to happen, in my opinion. And I think that Malcolm Brown starts the season. I'm pretty confident saying that Malcolm Brown, I think, is going to start the season. I don't think that should blow any minds if Malcolm Brown's out there snap 1 week 1. I don't think that should blow anybody's mind. So will Cam Akers be able to separate? I think so. I think so. He fits that zone running scheme real well, so I think that definitely bodes well for him, for sure. But we'll see a decent amount of committee, man. I think we'll see a decent rotation. Because I think McVay partially saw that that's kind of how it's done. I think that the Rams organization kind of saw that that's really how you should be doing things now, is running back committee. You don't need just one guy to be your workhorse. Rotate some guys, and whoever has the hot hand, just keep feeding them. It's worked for plenty of teams, and I would say the best teams in the NFC all run it that way. Seattle, San Fran, New Orleans, they all run it that way. They all run the committee. Whoever's got the hot hand just keeps getting the football. And I think the Rams are going to be part of that squad. Next question here is from Paul. What's the next tattoo? I have a decent amount of tattoos. Not really. I've got 7. I don't think that's many. I want all of them, so I don't. Yeah, it's I want all of the tattoos. I think my next one, I want to get. I don't even want to say it because I feel like people are going to steal it. Probably not, though, because they're actually super dumb. So I'll just tell you guys. I'm thinking of one of 2 things is going to be my next one, but I will get both. I want to get Bobby Hill dabbing, and then I don't know where I'll get that one, but I want it to be visible. I like my tattoos to be visible. I don't like hiding them. And then I also want the Chinese symbol for the word Japan. It's going to happen, dude. Gonna happen. I don't know where I would want that one, but I just want to be able to say it's Chinese for Japan. That's all, man. That's all. Wyatt wants to know, what is your insane prediction for the Rams in the 2020 season? I should have thought about this one more, I think, because I read this one before, but I was like, I'll think of something. Insane prediction. Oof, man. You kind of got me. Let me see. I should have prepared. Okay, how about this? My insane prediction. I'm going to do it. I'm doing this one. I think Aaron Donald rushes 2 touchdowns in this year. Let's get it. Okay, I've been pushing for Aaron Donald to be in at running back in goal line situations for years now. I think it's time we do it. I think this is the year. And we do it twice. Once against the Seahawks, once against the Niners, both at home. SoFi Stadium, rumbling. Because honestly, if Aaron Donald's running in touchdowns, there's quakes happening, all right? That ground is not stable if Aaron Donald's punching in touchdowns. He's never scored a touchdown. I think it's fitting that he would do it on the offensive side of the ball. On his way to being MVP. AD for MVP. I think that would be so much fun to see AD be MVP. I'm sick of running or quarterbacks just getting it. Just a quarterback and a guy who runs. I don't know. It seems a little boring to me. It seems dull. Honestly, last year I would have given it to McCaffrey. I would have voted. If I had a vote, I don't. But if I had a vote, I would have voted for McCaffrey myself. I think I'm not anti-quarterback. I just really like to, I just like to shake it up, I guess. I like to be that oddball. I don't know your name. I'm going to call you Maxed, because that's your name on here. Is any validity to the rumors of us signing Cap? Honestly, I have no idea. I like to think that I have like a good grasp on what the Rams are doing and what they're going to do. I like to think that. I don't. That's like, I remember when the Aqib Talib stuff first popped up. I came on here, on this show, and it was like, guys, let it go. It's not happening. Aqib Talib is not coming to the Rams. It was like a day later that trade happened. And then I was like, Ndamukong Suh is not coming to the Rams. We don't need him. Why would he come to the Rams? And it was like later that day, he signed. It was like, you know what? I give up. I'm done. I'm done predicting. But any validity, I would say yes. I think that there is a little bit. I think it's very possible. We're an LA team. No, screw that. We're the LA team. What am I saying? We're the LA team. At least the only one that matters. And then Yeah, I think that with the way that the Rams have handled the current situation, I don't think it's out of the question at all that the Rams could sign Colin Kaepernick. My only hiccup here is, first of all, should he get signed? And it's all to do with football. It has nothing to do with the anthem, with kneeling, with protests, any of that stuff. He wasn't that good most recently. And I don't know how many people, especially at the quarterback position, can be out of the game for 3 years, come back, and then just be dope. I'm not sure that that's a thing. So, are the rumors valid? Probably. There's probably some validity to these rumors, but should he be signed? No. I mean, we don't need him. Johnny Hekker had more pass attempts than Blake Bortles did last year. The backup quarterback position doesn't worry me, and it doesn't worry me, and it will not worry me until we see proof that Jared Goff is not able to handle a full season without getting hurt, which he's literally shown us his entire career so far that he's good, that he can handle it. Every time he gets blasted, dude hops right back up. I'm trying to think, have I even seen Jared Goff be slow to get up? That hit against Sherman, but then they pulled him out of the game. Like the upstairs guys were like, we need to check him out. And he was fine. He came right back. But here's my thing on Cap, okay? A, Cam Newton's still a free agent. Cam Newton was in the MVP conversation just 2 years ago, and he can't find a job. What teams need a quarterback right now? You can say the Patriots, and you can say basically the Jags. Who else? Who else needs a quarterback? Maybe the Redskins? But do we really think the only team in the NFL that has a racial slur for a name is going to sign Colin Kaepernick? That just doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe it does to other people. But the single team that has a racial slur for their name, I don't think is going to sign Kaepernick. I think that the irony in that would just be off the wall. Honestly, that would be like, it's like, okay, what? But Cam Newton can't even find a job. Joe Flacco is the backup for the Jets. I mean, and I'm not saying that these guys are super sick or anything like that, but Joe Flacco's a Super Bowl quarterback. Cam Newton he's played in Super Bowls. It's just one of those things. I don't think that it has nothing, and I can't stress it enough because I know people are gonna. I feel like there's at least some people sitting there thinking that I'm anti-cap or whatever because of protest. No, I support all that stuff. I support I supported it back then, but he wasn't that good on the football field. It has everything to do with on the football field. He wasn't that good, and no teams need quarterbacks. And do you really think the Rams are going to sign somebody? So Joe Flacco signed a $1.4 up to $4 million with incentives. That's his deal. I learned that today. Thanks, Paul. Do we really think that Colin Kaepernick is going to come in and sign for a vet minimum? No. He's probably going to make at least $2 million. And do we really think that the Rams should spend $2 million on a backup quarterback position, a position that last year had 3 pass attempts? I see no reason that the Rams need to sign Cap. There's not a lot of teams that I could see signing Cap, and it makes sense. The Redskins roster makes sense, but the irony involved in that, it's just too much. And then he just doesn't feel like a Patriot to me. That sentence probably could be taken in that sentence alone could probably be taken and spun into some seriously obnoxious ways, but you guys know what I mean. The New England Patriots, he doesn't feel like he fits into their culture, which is very rigid, very strict. Tom Brady left the Patriots and then went on Howard Stern and had this whole interview where he's talking about all this stuff. That would have never happened if he was still a Patriot. And if Kaepernick were to sign with the Patriots, I think that the team would just be like, all right, man, just shut up and play. Which is a weird thing to say. That's okay for teams to say, in my opinion. They'd just be like, dude, we want to win. That's what the Patriots are about, winning. They're not worried, that sentence probably sounds bad. I don't mean it bad in any way. You guys, I feel like you guys are smart enough to know what I'm saying. I feel confident in that. Let's see here. Next one up. We're moving on. Next one here from Steve. I think McVay will scheme to get our tight ends more touches this year. I think he started that. I think he started scheming that last year. Late season, last quarter of the season, those last 4 games, Higbee was heavily featured. So I think he's already kind of started that. Higbee had more catches and yards in those final 4 games than he had the rest of his career. So overall, I think that's already happening. Tight ends are getting more involved. That could be bad news for guys like Kupp, but we'll see what happens. I don't care who's scoring touchdowns, just score the touchdowns. As long as they're wearing Rams uniforms, I'm good with it. Steve also wants to know, choose one. Okay, I thought about this one a lot. This was a tough one. I'll read it to you guys. Steve says, choose one. You can work for and cover the Rams professionally, but the Rams will never make the playoffs. Or you turn down the job and let the Rams' future just play out. This is a tough one, and I'll tell you why. And it's because the Rams could literally never win another game, and I'll still be a Rams fan. The rest of my life, however long that happens to be, the Rams could just not win any more games. I'm still going to be repping. I'm still going to be doing Ram Showcase. I'll still be wearing hats that nobody likes. I'm just going to do it still. I would prefer to win. I would prefer to see the team win. Yeah, obviously. But I'll still be a fan no matter what. That's just the way I am. So, because of that, though, I mean, I don't know. That's such a, and I'm probably not going to give you a straight answer, to be honest. But like, if I turn down the job and then just let the future play out, I would always be like every time they didn't make the playoffs, I'd be like, I could have been covering them, and this would have been the same thing. That would frustrate me. Every time they didn't make the playoffs, I'd be like, well, I could have covered this year. I could have worked for them. But if I worked for them and then they never made it again, first of all, that's some real voodoo stuff. Some real bad luck, if that's the situation. And if that were the case, maybe, just maybe, I would have to go work for another NFC West team so that they could have that terrible luck. Maybe. You know what? I'll let you guys decide that. Let's talk about this winner real fast. I got one answer. I'm really disappointed, and we're not going to bring back trivia for a while. We'll probably wait until the season starts again. But again, I want to shoot a special shout out though to Shaw's Customs for helping us out here. If you guys have not already, make sure you guys head over to etsy.com/shop/Shaw's Customs. Check them out there. You can get all kinds of cool stuff. You can get new Rams logos. You can get those fan-made logos that I'm not a fan of. But he'll do those for you. Joe Exotic stuff. There's other stuff also. You know, what a sick sales pitch, right? Yeah. So make sure you guys check out Shaw's Customs. But our winner for last week's trivia question. Actually, wait, do I have the trivia question? Actually, let me see. I got the answers or the clues in front of me. If you guys were not able to see it, first of all, it was a who am I? So the question was, who am I? I batted .458 in high school baseball. I never played for the team who selected me, who drafted me. And then I went to the Pro Bowl but never played. And my final clue, my bonus clue, was what did the Rams leave in St. Louis but only had in LA? The answer, Jack Snow. So Jon Perry, you absolutely got that question correct. And make sure you send me a message on the Rams Showcase page. I know I told you to comment. I know I did. I probably should have just taken your answer there, which is fine. But hey, it worked out, and you still won. So shoot me a message, and then I'll get in. We'll figure this out, okay? Because we changed the way we do our trivia, so we're ironing out some deets. And shoot me a message. I will get you in touch with Josh from Shaw's Customs. You'll be able to pick something out from there. I'll have to ask him about the sizing and stuff like that. But congrats, man! You win. Jack Snow is the answer to that. .458 in high school baseball. Holy cannolis! By the way, speaking of baseball, I'm not very confident that we're going to get baseball this year. Other people are though. Even people that are like in the MLB are like, oh no, we're coming back. I don't know. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it, guys. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. That's going to do it, though. That is Ram Showcase on this June 11th. It is a hot day, guys. It is, it's 82. 82. Gosh. That's, like, way too much for me. And how, like, with how my body's built, I'm just going to turn into jerky out here. That's bad news bears for Joe Bags over here. That's going to do it for me, though. Make sure you guys check out Shaw's Customs. You can find them on Facebook as well. Shaw's Customs. I believe that's one word. You can check them out there. Tell him the sheriff sent you. You won't get a deal, but he'll get a kick out of it. And he'll at least know that I'm sending some peeps, you know? So, yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good. Shaw's Customs where it's at. I'm definitely going to pick up so many things from him. I can't wait. I gotta wait for all the rest of my Ram stuff to come in, though. I still got another hat come in, some jerseys on the way, my custom jerseys. That means I'm gonna have 5 custom Sheriff Joe Bags jerseys, and that's obnoxious, but I love it at the same time. The only one I don't have, like the only version that I don't have, will be like the dark blue with the navy blue. That's the one I don't have. I got the royal blue, the throwback. I got the white and gold one. I've got the Color Rush yellow, and now I've got the bone gray and the new blue coming in. Gonna be dope. All right, that is gonna do it for me. I am Sheriff Joe Bags. This has been Ram Showcase on Sports War Radio. Make sure you guys follow the Ram Showcase on all your favorite social media. That's at Ram Showcase on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook.com/Ram Showcase. Follow me as well at Sheriff Joe Bags on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook.com/Sheriff Joe Bags. That's gonna do it for me. For those of you that aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you that are Rams fans, thank you guys so much for listening, and you guys have a great night.